Welcome, wonderful souls, to the Lightness of Being Podcast. I'm Monika Stefanik, your guide for a deep dive into a world where magic, reality, and divine love intersect. So take a deep breath, settle in, and let's begin. Greetings, beautiful beings, and welcome to this episode of the Lightness of Being Podcast. It has been a little while, at least for me, and I'm recording this. It is officially January 1st, 2026, at least the last couple hours of it. And wow, what a year it has been, if we're tracking Gregorian time. Such an interesting last couple of months, and as I sat down to record this evening, to be honest, I'm feeling tired and also inspired, and feeling this fire kind of stir in my belly and from my root in the awareness and realm of just showing up and doing the thing that feels challenging, no matter the conditions, because the conditions are never going to be perfect. And the podcast has been on a bit of a pause for a couple different reasons, and naturally that does happen, and just I've been in a space of like deeply trusting the timing, and also honestly feeling some frustration because I love showing up to this space so much. And this last year I've had so many incredible conversations with beautiful, beautiful people in my community, and it has been just over a year. I originally launched the podcast on my birthday, which is Christmas Eve of 2024, and now we're just entering 2026. And so just really honoring the period of time. And I found myself, as that year mark started to come up, feeling just feeling weird about not having had recorded more, especially coming up on this like big period of time of like, oh my god, I've been doing the podcast for a year and it's been decently consistent, and really wanting to like celebrate that within myself, and also having my energy called in some other directions, which is okay, and also having some interference come in as well. And so doing my best to not make myself wrong or judge the natural unfoldment of things, yes, and also being in the space of recognizing that like we do tend to get in our own way, right? And if this is something that means that much to me, like really finding a way to just show up. And so that's what I'm doing right now. And regardless of like what this, I have no idea what this episode is meant to be. I definitely have an idea of where to go, and we'll just kind of see what naturally unfolds as the energy does what it does. And this is a more solo space, and things are shifting on the back end and processing of how all of this is going to unfold. And so with that being what it is, just really taking a moment to deeply honor my process, the process of this podcast, the process of this last linear year, and really just taking a moment to reflect on all that was. And so it just feels right in this moment to take a moment and just sit in silence. And if you're able to, close your eyes if you're not driving a car or, moving about your day. I'm just going to invite you to take a moment to slow down and pause and maybe close your eyes and just settle into a space of stillness. And really noticing any sensations in your body, whatever those sensations may be. And really just allowing them, trying not to label or judge or whatever the mind thought is that typically tries to label that sensation. Just acknowledging it, maybe putting your hands on that part of your body if you're able, and just saying thank you. Thank you, body, for this awareness of this piece of me that is feeling. Thank you, body, for the way in which you carry me through my day and my life. Thank you, body, for the ways in which every particle of my being moves with intention and magic and is continuously just ever changing in motion and in response to environment, and is always, always there, showing up and doing the work to allow me to maneuver my way as a being inside of a body. What a gift it is to inhabit these magnificent, intelligent vessels. Finding a lot of gratitude for the spaces that feel good and even the spaces that feel pain. Because no matter what the sensation is, it's truly just our body speaking to us, trying to bring us into a space of awareness around something that is off kilter and off balance. And by bringing awareness and intention into that space, body just says thank you. Thank you for not pushing this away or ignoring it or trying to cover it up. Like, this sensation is here for a reason. And really just taking a moment to honor it no matter how uncomfortable it is. I know that this last year has been really challenging for a lot of us. I mean, you could say that for any period of time, really. And a lot of the reflections that I've been hearing as we enter into a new era, in a way, is we're really shedding our snake skin. If you're following some of the astrology, we are ending the year of the snake, which technically does not end until like February 17th. So we still have some time to shed things and to then shift into the year of the horse, the fire horse. That being said, we have also ended in numerology, it's like a 9 year, which is endings, right? And then we're going to enter a 1, which is new beginnings. And so there's a lot of releasing, of learning to let go, of everything just moving out and through, no matter how much we try to cling and control. And that really has been a lot of, if you've been listening to the podcast the last couple of months, the last year, a lot of my, maybe more of like the solo episodes, but it's also been an element that's brought into a lot of the conversations, just surrender and letting go and learning to trust and following the guidance that is moving from that more intuitive space and shifting out of these mechanisms of control that we have been programmed into and operating from for so long. And that's at least been my personal journey for a while. And in this last year, a lot of it has really been brought to the surface in some very confronting ways so that I could see it, right? So that I could see it and learn to be with it and really feel it and hold it. And from there, the word that feels most resonant now is alchemizing it, right? It's not just like shifting it to the side and forgetting about it, but it's actually taking that information and what's learned through lived experience and transforming it into something lighter, into a higher vibrational frequency, into something that is deeply of love, no matter what it is, because that is like all everything is love, right? And there's so much that I could say on that topic of things. So yeah, it's definitely been a challenging period of time for a lot of us, and just want to, celebrate myself and cheer y'all on that are listening to this, that have been on this journey with me as well. Like, you're doing so great. We're all doing so great, and we're doing the absolute best that we can with what we have. And so just taking a moment to like really honor and celebrate yourself, because holy wow, what a journey it has been, what a journey it is and will continue to be. And what a beautiful experience that we get to be in and like really root our purpose and our passion into the realm of form by inhabiting a body. And by inhabiting a body, we also not inhabit, what's the word? We invite in all of the things that have to do with being human, which is just part of the experience and part of the curriculum that we are here to undergo as we transform and learn to remember what we really are and where we come from. And when we really get to have a touch point with the memory of that, whether it's mind memory, like a visceral memory, like a physical sensation, it, I'll speak to my experience of that at least, and I hope this isn't too out there. I hope this is following some sort of trajectory. There's a remembrance there of like, whoa, like this, I'm so small. I'm so small and can also like sometimes seemingly not have a big impact, but also actually have a really massive ripple effect in the world around me by just being me. And that remembrance of like what we really are and where we really came from. Originally, the first time I ever felt that, there was a lot of like grief and sadness that came up that I had to hold and be with because I could remember and feel it and like just have this craving to just want to be there and to just go back into like the truth of like what I am and to be here in the density of this planet and having a body. It felt dense, and that's okay. So through that process, there was this acknowledgement of like, okay, there's this remembrance, there was grief, and like all this other emotion that I had to move through, and coming onto a different side of it, alchemizing that, right? Coming onto another side of it and looking at the world from a completely different space, from real, true, unconditional love, which only came through by truly unconditionally loving myself and showing up for myself and taking care of myself, not from a space of selfishness, but from a true space of like, I am worthy and deserving just because I am, just because I'm alive and just because I exist. And by me really taking care of myself, then I can give to the collective and to the world from an overflowing cup. And the more I get to nurture that, the more everyone else benefits. And so now looking at the world, like every little part of this world, and just being so incredibly grateful to wake up and breathe, to have a comfortable bed to sleep in, to get to go outside and look at the moon and the stars, because not everywhere in the world can you see blue skies or even walk outside your door at night and look up at the stars because you live in cities or whatever it is. And so there's just like a magnificence to existence that has escaped me for so long, and I now feel like a deep embodiment of, because of the alchemical processes of like deep dark nights of the soul and this stuff that has been part of my curriculum to undergo on this journey in this incarnation and in this body. And yeah, really, really what a gift it is to get to do that. And that journey has looked like a lot of I was listening to something the other day. It was a clip from a different podcast, and it might have been the Know Thyself podcast. And I think there was this woman on there that was saying her take from some research. I guess they've been doing research and, studying brains of people who are depressed and also in a stage of awakening, that depression and anxiety and experiences like that are actually like a precursor into awakening. And I may be getting that wrong, but that's my interpretation of it. I only watched this clip once and I was like, oh my God, this is profound. Not, no, it was profound because I was like, that makes so much sense. I spent most of my life in those types of states, right? And definitely had a point in time where I was like, am I going to be here? Am I not going to be here? And through that, yeah, leading into the state of like awakening that I've been in. And I know for a fact that like the only reason I'm where I'm at right now is because of where I was and what I uniquely had to go through to learn certain lessons in order to begin to embody and understand the fullness of me and get to really honor that for myself, not from a projection out into the world of like, I want people to see me a certain way. And like, I definitely had periods of time as I was navigating this terrain of like, I want to be seen as this, and so I'm going to look like this and dress like this and put these things on. And and this is just part of the process of learning it. Um, so through that part of the experience, learning to really take care of and love myself for me, not for anyone else. And that I get to feel good and look good and have really wonderful friendships and collaborations in my life and, a good relationship with money and all of these different things, which, like, all of these aspects are still, I'm I'm still in the curriculum of it, it's a forever unfolding. And where I'm at right now is such a dramatic difference to where I was even just a year ago, which is so crazy to think about. Like this time last year, I was I was in a really tough spot. I was in a really tough spot. And it's wild to go back and reflect on that. I put a post up on my personal Instagram page last night, and it was just like a picture of me that I took when I was in Spain this past April. And one picture, I just put a little caption, and it was just like, I'm so proud of this girl for everything that she has chosen and been through this last year or something along those lines. And it was really just that space of like, I'm so proud of myself. And like, I don't need anyone to say that to me. I don't need anyone to validate that for me. I am nurturing and loving and reparenting myself in the way that I did not receive when I was growing up. And that's not a knock on the way that I was raised. It's just, again, a part of the position that I was put in on this planet to learn from. And it's not like a poor me, I'm a victim. I went through what I went through when, as I was growing up, and it's all my parents' fault. Like, and I've done that part. We're not doing that anymore. There's so much forgiveness and understanding for where they have been and where they came from and why those things have undergone the way that they did. But it's like, it's on me to really look at that, right, and acknowledge it and find a way to alchemize it. And so that really has at least been my process, and a process that I continue to go to. And I just know that I know that I'm in a much different position. Like, I have crossed a threshold, and I know I'm not the only one. I know there's others of you out there, because I've had conversations like these with just other friends in my sphere. And how incredible that is, right? That we are in this period of time that we're in, and who knows what the rest of time is gonna unfold. But we really are coming into a new era, and no matter where you're at when you're listening to this, like mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, romantically, like whatever it is, just like give yourself a moment and be like, wow, I have come so far. And like really reflecting back and looking at where you were a year ago or 2 years ago or whatever that is, and just like everything that you've chosen to get you to where you are right now, and just being like, wow, I'm so proud of myself. And even if you don't feel proud of yourself right now, that's okay. That's okay, because you will get there. And knowing that at any point in time, literally every moment of every single day, you have the option to choose something greater for yourself. You get to make the choice to move, to leave a relationship, to switch up your work, to whatever it is that would create a shift in your life, to move towards what you know is real and true and possible for you. And trust me, I understand that there's other dynamics than just like up and quitting your job. I'm not necessarily telling you to do that unless you want to do that. It's more coming from this space of like, empowerment to know that you know what is right and real and true for you. And if you're in a situation and you're unhappy, you can change that. And I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm just giving you a little nudge that it's possible. And also realizing, which is a really hard pill I had to swallow at some point in time, right? Like when we tend to be in states of like victimhood, where we can also be in a state of like looking for someone or something to come save us, right? And like really recognizing that yes, we can have really amazing support in our life, and also like the one person, the one relationship that you're always going to have is with yourself. And so remembering that like it is your job to show up and take care of you and to save you, and you can call on support. It's so important to call on support, whether that looks like your family or your friends or your angels and your guides and whatever higher power you want to call on in order to like receive that support. Like you don't have to do it alone, and you do have to do it. No one else is going to make that call or make that choice for you. It's gotta be you. And do I know how intimately that choice and it is? Like, how challenging of a choice that can be to like pull yourself out and up and like choose something different. And I also know that it's possible because I've been there, because I have been deep down in the depths of the shadow and the despair and just on my hands and my knees, just begging for it to stop. Having moments of like, is this my life? Is this literally what my life is going to be like forever? Incredible deep dark nights of the soul. And I know that I have a lot of resilience and tenacity that has also come from my unique life experience. And there's this just been this will to survive in a way, or just, yeah, survive. Which has definitely been the place that I've been in the last couple of years, has just been in survival mode. And now I finally feel like I'm coming into an era of thriving. And I am so stoked. And what makes it even better is like, yes, I've had amazing support along the way. And I am so grateful for all the support and all of my friends and everyone that's showed up. And even the ones that were like the lessons. And it's because of me. And again, that's not coming from like an ego or from a selfish place. And I mean, well, so maybe a little ego, but it's also like, that's, our ego isn't bad. Like, our ego can also be like a friend and a helpful conduit, right? As long as like the intentionality that we're moving from is different. So, or is that the intention is pure. And I got confirmation of this recently. I mean, there are things that like I know to be real and true about what I've gone through and the work that I have done to be where I'm at, and also shift the pain from not just my past, but like my ancestors' past. And because everything gets passed down, right? And the way that things have shown up in my life, I know, I didn't like know where it was coming from, but like I knew that there was a line that it was coming from. And I recently, through a series of magical events, ended up getting a session with a really wonderful medium here in town, which is the first time that I've ever done anything like that. And this woman and I met very synchronistically about a little over a year ago. I had her contact information, thought about her on and off, kind of like nothing, nothing ever flowed in that direction. I wasn't going to force it. And then again, series of magical events ended up being like, oh my gosh, I need to contact this woman. And anyway, we sat down and had a session, and she read me. And immediately, my father came in, who passed a little while ago. And there's so much that I could say about this session and about that. One of the main pieces was I had like this line of ancestors come through and communicate to me that, they see me. They were like, you have, like, your life has done this. And if you're not watching me on the video, I'm like, it's kind of like a roller coaster, like bringing my hand all the way up and all the way down, and all the way up and all the way down, right? Like really high highs and really low lows. And it's been really intense. And they were just acknowledging that, being like, hey, we see you. We know that, like, we know that life has been intense. And there were also aspects that my dad himself spoke to, which what I now understand is that when we pass, there is we as souls have an opportunity to look back and take responsibility for our life, right? And that it's a choice, even as just a soul after leaving your body, right? That's a choice, and some souls choose to do that and some don't. And I guess my dad was really ready to, and this was a point in time where he was like really ready to communicate and talk to me. And so number one, he was like, him and my other ancestors were like, thank you so much for just keeping your heart really open, because you have more than enough reason not to. And again, all of these things feel so validating, and I don't need it because I know for myself, which I receive these messages from the spirits of my ancestors it was very emotional. It was really beautiful, and it was really emotional. And yes, so they and my dad were saying, like, life has been really, really difficult, and you've done a lot of work, and it really has healed these, like, my friend who was reading me, she was saying she was seeing kind of like a link, like a chain link, and when it got to me, there was just this, like, expansion, like, chain broken, like, cycle breaker, right? Which I'm like, I know that. But to get that come through, so it's like you're breaking all the cycles, you're doing it, and we're so fucking grateful to you for doing that. Like, awesome, great job, Monika, you're doing it. And like, obviously, like, life as a human on this planet is still going to continue to have its waves and its ebbs and its flows, but the message that they at least shared with me was that instead of it being these big highs, big lows, big highs, big lows, it's going to be a little more smooth sailing from now on. And I was like, oh my god, thank god. And yeah, I can also feel that, right? Like, I could feel that based on what I've experienced in the past and where I'm at right now. Like, even through this last year, like at the beginning of last year of 2025, like I said, I was not in a good spot, and I was navigating some really intense emotional waters. And then as this year has unfolded, and especially coming into these last couple of months, I have also had some emotionality and things I've had to face. And yet, the way that I've navigated that and shown up to it has been from a space of so much more allowance, and like really just letting everything come and move through, and like not attaching to it. And it hasn't drawn me down into the depths like I used to allow it to. I allow it to come through, and then I also come back into my center and just be with it. And that really is maybe the best advice that I have, which, like, there are practices, and I can share one in just a moment, that one of my really good friends, who was actually just on one of the last podcasts, did in a woman's circle with us. Um, but there's this thing that happens when we have emotions and other things come up, where it's like we tend to repress them, we shove them down, we numb them away, which again, I'm a pro at, like, I get it. And none of it's wrong. Um, the thing with that is, though, is you're shoving it down. You're not like, it's not actually going away. You're just like covering it up and shoving it down. And so then it's going to come up later on and it's going to throw you off center, and it's going to throw you so far off center that it's difficult to navigate back into center. And my experience, at least over the last year, being in that and then finding my way back to center and really taking care and nurturing and loving and just supporting myself, has been, okay, when I'm deep in these emotionalities, really just like not even as I'm deep in them, like when I'm noticing something come up and through, I just allow it instead of doing the thing where I shove it down or I numb it away. And no matter where I am, no matter what I'm doing, like I never used to cry in public, let alone even cry in front of like my partner that I was with for 8.5 years. Like it was stuff like that was really way too vulnerable for me. And nowadays, no matter what it is, it's like I can have my emotions and feel them and find a way to communicate them, whether sometimes it's through tears, sometimes it's through like, hey, I'm upset, and not in a way of like projecting out at the other person, but just like, this is what's real and alive and true for me. And like, I'm learning how to be in a much more healthy space with what's moving through me and find a way to communicate that instead of shoving it away or being the people pleasing good girl trying to keep the peace, which are all of the stories and stuff that I, not even stories, that those are just the things that I was embodying and how I learned to survive based on the unique circumstances that I grew up in, right? And I know that that's not unique. That's something that a lot of us have in common. And so through the unfoldment of that, finding practices that help keep me in center, and most of that, right, has been a lot of just showing up for myself and a lot of self-love and like not outsourcing myself to medicine or people or sensation like food and whatever it is, right? Like I used to eat emotionally, and there's so many different soothing things that we go to, which again, none of it's wrong. And also, like, when we can find healthier balances with how to self soothe as opposed to seeking that externally and finding a way to do that internally, there's so much more strength and resilience that gets to come through. And we just feel so much better, at least in my experience. And so I'll share like one of the practices that, again, my friend Elizabeth Weekend shared in a women's circle that we did. What she had us do in essence was she had music on, and specific music, and would take us through specific emotions. So it could be anger or sadness or grief or joy, and would say things related to, like, let's say anger, right, to put you in a position and play music that is would feel more angry and stirring in that way. And the invitation was to really just let yourself go there, like let yourself go into the anger of whatever, it doesn't matter what it is, but just to like let yourself go into the experience and the emotionality of anger and like get to be in it and really just put yourself through it. And then there would be a moment where she would guide us back into your center and into your heart. And that like pulling back where you get to like build this muscle in a way of like, okay, okay, I'm feeling this. And it like takes, it's like a little bit of a push and pull. And then there takes this moment where you're like, okay, I'm here, I'm in my heart. And like whatever you need to do that, whether that's coming back to your breath or putting your hand on your body or, right, like everyone has different things. It's like, what's going to bring you back into your center? And we would do that over and over again for different emotions and pulling us back into our heart. And honestly, to this day, that is one of the most profound practices that I have been in the experience of, to build that muscle of coming back into my center. And I've even been able to use it in certain situations related to friendships and relating with others where, like, one of the big things I've been sitting with over the last couple of months is just the awareness that, like, no matter what your relationship is with the people in your life, like, we're going to lose people. That's fact, right? Like we are going to lose each other in some capacity, whether it's a breakup or someone dies or you have a friendship that just you grow apart, it's not for any reason, or you have a falling out or whatever it is, right? Like the one thing that we know is that we are going to lose people, people that we care about, people that we love. And that is a really, really difficult experience to be in, especially as being someone who really, like, I love and value the people that are in my life so much. I have such a big heart and I love so openly, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. And it also puts me in a position of immense grief when I do lose people in whatever way that ends up being. So, one of the practices I have put myself in over the last couple of months is when I would feel a certain like sadness around a particular person in my life, whatever situation. And if I had the spaciousness, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna put myself into this feeling of grief and really allow it to like be there and to move through me. And would, because of strengthening the muscle, be able to notice there's always like this kind of moment where you either like you can get taken down into it, or you can like pull yourself back into your center. And so I would notice where I'm like, okay, I'm feeling this grief, I'm crying, and then like I would notice my thoughts, right? Like it's a lot about noticing your thoughts. And I would like notice my thoughts and like the stories that I was going into, and I'm like, okay, like yes, and you can continue to do that, or you can pull yourself back into your heart. And so like with immense effort, I would like pull my mind and everything back into the center of my body, back into my chest and back into my heart. And still allowing the expression of that emotion to be real and alive and lived through my body. And on the other side of those experiences, I would feel so much better, and also would have this deep trust that, number one, it strengthened my relationship with the people. And also because there was like this greater presence that I was at least able to show up with within my connections. And because I'm like, wow, like I'm gonna lose you at some point. Like it may not be today or tomorrow or 5 or 10 years from now, but like at some points, I'm just gonna be really, really present with you. And it also just allowed me to, because like when we stuff things down, right, like it builds up. And so by allowing everything to move through, I know that whenever that time comes, whenever I'm going to lose these people, it's going to be so sad. It's going to be so sad. Like there's no getting around that. And I know that it's not going to throw me off my center. I can be sad and I can grieve and I can move through that. And I can also hold my center. And I get to be in the experience of both and not allow these emotions, which is just energy in motion, to completely disrupt and dislodge my life and the path that I'm on to leading my purpose into the world and serving the community that I'm around, and taking all of that and letting it alchemize into a way of letting it come through, holding myself, receiving the support, asking for and receiving the support that I need in that moment, and still continuing to be able to show up for my life. And it's just a drastically different position that I'm in now than I have ever been in. Because before, used to experience intense emotion and then I would be bedlocked for like days, or like showing up to the world but like in this deep darkness. And it's just not the, like, especially in the work that I do, and like I'm as a space holder and as a practitioner, like I can't be helpful in those spaces if that's the energy I'm bringing to them. And again, it's not a shoving to the side of my human experience, it's an alchemization of the parts of this human experience into a place of power and potency, and then getting to embody that and bring that into a completely different state of being, which I've been noticing that like I'm just I'm just being me more and not allowing external stimuli and stuff to influence how I'm being and what I'm choosing and what I know about myself. And I feel like part of this is aptly timed for ending and completing my Saturn return. I just turned 32, and which is crazy. And yeah, it's really an incredible experience to get to be where I'm at. And something that I was reflecting on the other day, because I've been hearing this from a couple people in my worlds over the last couple of months. And the other day I really just started to, yeah, reflect on it, take it in, and like embody it and be like, yeah, Monica, like that's awesome. And it is, I've people have been sharing with me, they're just like, I just feel so inspired by you, like I'm really inspired by you. And I'm not seeking to be an inspiration to anyone. I'm just seeking to love and take care of myself and feel better than I have in the past, right? And so having these really beautiful, incredible people that I care about, that care about me, come in and just be like, I'm really inspired by you. And in the different ways and shapes and forms. And I'm just like, oh, like, that's really sweet. Like, thank you. And to just know that, like, I don't have to perform or dress a certain way or look a certain way or talk a certain way. Like, that's the piece I was reflecting on, was like literally just by being you. Oh my God. By being you and all of your crazy weirdness, and also like, emotionality and stuff that comes up and through, like, you're having a ripple effect. Like that work that you're doing and the lightness that you're beginning to like step into and embody, and the joy and all of that and the ease, like, and the way that that ripples out into your life and how other people are receiving that and seeing that, that is an inspiration. And that is probably the greatest gift that I could ever ask for this new solar season of my individual life, and stepping into this new season with the collective. And we are in it together. We really, really are. And there's so much that's gonna come, and we really, really need each other. And so my greatest ask, and as I bring this conversation to a close, is, I guess I shouldn't call it a conversation, monologue. As I bring this podcast to a close, is like really take a moment to reflect on the support that you have in your life in all of the realms and ways and shapes and forms, whether they're animals or spirits or humans or plants or all the different things. Like, really take a moment to just like take stock of all of the support that you are able to call on at any moment in time or go out into, right? Like, nature is always available. You can go out into nature. She holds the greatest space. And really just take a moment to like love and enjoy and cherish that, and have a lot of gratitude for that, and find different ways to create and cultivate more of that in your life. And that might mean shifting social circles, or which can also be challenging, and just giving yourself a lot of like grace and love and compassion as you navigate this new time that we're stepping into as a collective, and also remembering that we are doing this together. Doing it together, and we get to do it, and it's gonna be okay, and we have each other's backs, and at the end of the day, we get to breathe. We get to have a body. We get to have a life. And that really is the greatest gift. So, on that note, I hope this episode was a contribution. And sometimes these solo ones can be a little bit of a lot for me, because I also have this story that runs through my head at times of like, who wants to listen to just me? And yet, I don't always have someone to talk to, especially if it's not planned. And when I feel the inspiration come through, it's like, okay, it's time to do this. So we're here doing this. I feel like it may end up happening more. And I don't know, I'm always open to feedback, y'all. So here to be of support to you in whatever way feels good. And if there's a particular topic that, I don't know, feels like it's really alive for you, let me know. And I can find some magical wisdom in the community that surrounds me, and have a conversation about that with someone who might know a little, maybe not know more than me, knows different than I do, because it's not really that any of us know more or less. It's just we have different life experience and different wisdom to share. And yeah, that, that is a really beautiful thing to get to do. So, cheers to more of this in the future, and cheers to you, celebrating you in this new season and new year, and big love and blessings.